Parang ang boring mag-review ng Raptor dito, no? Why don't we try someplace else? There we are. Fish meet water. Hey everyone, Vince here from AutoIndustriya, and we are at Sacobia in Clark, Pampanga to take a look at the new generation Ford Ranger Raptor. Now, I know a lot of you guys already know about the Ford Ranger Raptor. Maybe you even got to test drive it over in Sacobia, or maybe you got one yourself. Whichever the case, it's a very popular truck from Ford. Actually, the previous generation one, it was kind of the lion's share when it comes to the sales of the Ranger, because the Raptor proved really popular here in the Philippine market for many reasons, much of which we'll explain a little bit later. Now, this is based, of course, on the latest generation of the Ford Ranger, but some of the changes, of course, with the platform, not so much, or maybe a little bit. But anyways, in terms of the look, it's got the new look right here. Of course, these headlamps, it's something you've seen with the Ranger as well as the Everest. But in this case, it does have the FORD grille, the very, significant, I guess, signature of the Ford Raptor lineup. Yes, this is a Raptor, meaning it's from Ford Performance, or at least tuned and configured by Ford Performance to be this way. We'll take a look at all the bits underneath. But what do you think of the look? It's a bit wider, got a nicer color to it. The black bumpers, back over fenders, different wheels with the BF Goodrich KO2 tires right there. They're all-terrain tires and optimized for basically on-road and off-road, kind of giving you a very good compromise. We'll show you when we're driving. Got vents up there, all kinds of stuff going on. But really, it's a mean-looking truck, and it comes as no surprise that it is really popular here in the Philippines. Now, you can see from the side, it is a bigger truck overall. They actually stretch it out a little bit, just a little bit. But the platform is still the same with some improvements, particularly with the suspension mounts and the way they position everything to improve on the ride and the ability of the suspension to work. And speaking of suspension, what you're looking for really with the Ford Ranger Raptor is the Fox Racing Shock system. And in this time, they've actually improved it. They made it a little bit wider, the tube's a bit wider, to hold more fluid, make it more, well, perform better compared to before. Now, as you can see, the wheels, I actually talked about this. One thing we want to note here is that for us who do a lot of video shoots and car shoots, one feature we really like about the wheels is we're a bit anal when it comes to the center cap. But in this one, we can actually rotate that so it's nice and aligned. Pretty cool, right? Now, side steps, of course, are very wide compared to, let's say, a lot of other trucks in the market. And it's placed high up, so meaning it gives you a little bit more ground clearance, a little bit less interference. There's a little bit of dirt there from the tires, so clearly it's coming through there, but don't worry about it. We're gonna put way more dirt into this vehicle very soon. The great thing about being based on the new Ford Ranger is that this Ranger Raptor gets a lot of the same improvements. So you get these covers here. Let me remove one for you now. It's basically like an abang or a weighting receptacle for you to put accessories on it. You don't have to drill through anymore. Just remove these covers, put something through there, like tighten it down, and you're all well and good. You can mount all kinds of accessories available in the market, and there are a lot. This one does have the new taillights, the new rear bumper. It does have these toe points there, one on either side, which is pretty nice. One interesting point, if you want to mount like another one in the middle, you could. You have to buy an accessory for that. It also gets this very nice tailgate with a third brake lamp and a helper spring, making it nice and light. What is interesting though is that Ford deleted one of the features I really like, which is the step box here on the side. The height of the actual deck is about 38 inches from the ground up to here. The length from here to there is about 56 inches. The maximum width is about 57. The minimum width, which is between either here or between the wheel wells, is around 47. The height is around 20, maybe even 21, depending on where you measure. You do get plugs right here if you want to hook up like AC outlets, like AC powered. I can't reach. Again, it's a really high truck and one that we really like. You can mount all kinds of accessories. Oh, one more thing, forgot to show you. Like with the other Rangers, this one does have the clamp points if you want to clamp something down here on the tailgate for woodworking and the like. Powering the Ford Ranger Raptor is a very familiar engine. It's a 2-liter turbo diesel 4-cylinder that makes 210 PS, yes, just a little bit less than before, and 500 Newton meters of torque from I think 1750 RPM, there or thereabouts. So it's a very proven engine, a very familiar engine already to us in our market. The transmission is also a familiar one. It's a 10-speed automatic. It can be driving either the rear wheels or all 4 wheels, depending on which mode you go for. You do have 4 high and then 4 low. You also have several drive modes you can play with. We'll show you in a bit. It depends on the surface you want to go on. One thing we want to note here is that there are variants of the Ford Ranger Raptor with a V6 engine, but in the Philippines, unfortunately, we don't get that. That's also why you see that there's plenty of space in the engine bay of this vehicle. That's also because they needed to make space for, let's say, future electrification plans, like a mild hybrid, and also the fact that, the Ford Ranger before was intended to be able to use a 3.2-liter 5-cylinder engine, and as you know, a 5-cylinder inline engine does take up quite a bit of space. But one of the major reasons why a lot of people gravitate towards a Ford Ranger or a Raptor or an Everest is because of the height. And as you can see, well, with my height, I can barely get into the engine bay to access anything that I want to access. But what that gives you is good water weighting. Now, as you can see here, the intake for the actual filter is right up here, and the level of that filter is at 1.2 or maybe 1.18 meters off the ground. The rated or maximum water weighting of this one is 80 centimeters, so or 800 millimeters, so right about there. So if you keep the flood, if you have to cross a flood or a river, well, there's not really much water right now. If you have to do that, keep it under there and you're good. All right, Barney, great job today. Good shoot. Wait, narinig mo yun? Parang bato ba yun? Baka may bato sa windshield. Tigil nga tayo. May bato nga. You have to be careful when you go off-roading or on some kind of fast trail. Rocks just get everywhere. Baka magasgasan yung windshield mo. But thankfully, our friends over at Aguila Auto Glass stock all kinds of windshields for a lot of car models, especially the Ford Ranger. They have 26 branches all around Luzon, and they're ready to serve you. And they have a reputation for treating customers just like family. If you need to replace the glass on your car, van, SUV, or truck, go with Aguila Quality and visit any of their 26 branches all around Luzon. Aguila Auto Glass is a premium partner of AutoIndustriya.com, and they help me keep my reviews very independent and very honest. Now on with the drive. So here's the back seat of the Ford Ranger Raptor. Not really much has changed with the vehicle. I mean, there are changes with the front seat, so you can see that here. But the accent's pretty much different. There are some like suede bits going on there, but it's generally mostly leather. I mean, it's pretty much all leather. And then, of course, forgive the dirt on the floor because, we are in the lahar beds. So that's to be expected. 2 AC vents there. You have USB, USB-C, a 230-volt outlet. Makes it very easy. I mean, this does have a built-in inverter, just like in the back. So that's very good. The seats here, nice and scalloped. It's actually got a little bit of bolstering. You have individual headrests for all 3 passengers that this can take. You do have a center armrest, 2 cup holders. It actually locks in very well over there. If you want to pull up the rear seat, you can. You also have pockets here if you want to put your phone there. If you really want, there are pockets here. But you can also pull this up and hold it up. Well, it does latch onto there, but pull it up. You have your tools here for your tire changing. That package over there is plastic here. That package over there is for the front bumper, so you can put some covers on it, that kind of thing. But really, it's a pretty standard rear seat for the Ford Ranger Raptor. Nice and plush. So now let's check out what's in the front. What's always been great about the Ford Ranger Raptor, even the previous generation, is that they really make you feel like you're in a Raptor. I mean, you look around, compared to the regular standard Ranger Wildtrak variants, This one has a lot of nicer accents. You have the red or orange, whatever trim it is. In the AC vents, you have it on the seats. Raptor logo right there, same here. The seats, by the way, these are sporty style seats, which is nice. Then you have the steering wheel, leather, perforated leather right here. Raptor emblem there. You have the centering tab thing there, which is something you'd find in a lot of rally cars back then, so you know you're kind of straight, which is pretty cool. You have the paddle shifters here. It's attached to the actual wheel. It's not attached to the column, so when you steer, it does work with, it does go around with the steering wheel. I would actually argue there are maybe a bit too many buttons on the steering wheel, because I was counting it earlier when I was driving. There are 10 different functions on the left side of the steering wheel alone, and another 8 on this side that you can control. Maybe it's a bit too much, but still, all well and good. It's all functional so long as you know how to use it. This one does have a dual zone climate control system, and that's always nice. And I like that the AC is actually nice and powerful for our kind of weather. Always a good thing. For connectivity, you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, both of which are wireless. And you also have a wireless charging pad right there, just like in the Ranger Wildtrak. So my phone charging there. One thing I did notice was sometimes the wireless Android Auto does drop when we use our two-way radios. So earlier, yeah, something to keep in mind. You do have USB ports here, USB, and then a USB-C port down there. Another pocket here. Another pocket here for stuff. If you want to put your phone there, you could. You probably put your wallet here, keys, whatever, and stuff on these two cup holders. Electronic parking brake, right there. You have the e-shifter here, which the cool thing about the e-shifter is that if you don't, for example, if you come to a park and then you forget to put it into park, well, when you do press the ignition button, it will actually move forward, which is pretty cool. Let's turn it back on because it's really hot right now. So that's one of the nicer features, well, the unusual features about this. There's a button here on the left side, the manual button. That one will let you actually use this, although you can't override with this anyway. But here you have your some of your other functions, the park sensors. You have the traction control off. The terrain modes right here you can access right there. Oh, sorry, the 4x4 drive system there. And then you have the drive modes here on the dial here, right there. So you can go through the different functions. I will show you in a bit. 2 high, 4 high, 4 low, 4A. Really all kinds of stuff going on. USB port here, so if you have a dash cam, you can put it there. Well, not on the RFID tag. You can put your dash cam there and then power it directly right there. Just get a really short USB cord. You're good to go. This one does have the ADAS, which is why you have the sensor suite here and a few more other sensors in around the vehicle. So you get things like the adaptive cruise control, you get AEB, you get lane keep, lane departure, rear cross, all that stuff. Basically everything you can think of, it's here. Oh, by the way, like I mentioned earlier, the wireless Android Auto does drop, and look right now, it has just dropped. I don't even know why. So that's one of the things to keep in mind when you have more electronics. There's some gremlins you have to worry about. But what's really cool is that they put something that we found in what was that version? The FX4, I think, Max before, which is this auxiliary switch pack. But what it gives you is the ability to add accessories, electronic accessories, without having to worry about, drilling in the dashboard. So you can switch all of that stuff. What you can do is you can just install your accessory, wire it up to here. I think there's going to be a connector pack somewhere. I haven't really checked, but there should be a terminal somewhere where you can hook all of those up individually, depending on which switch you want to activate. So for example, you want the auxiliary driving lights, and just put a little tab sticker there. If you want a winch, if you want, I don't know, what else would you want on a Ford Ranger Raptor? And whatever the case, you can add it all up to here. So long as there's an on-off function, you should be able to use it. Now let's get to the screens. Now there is a lot of technology with the Ford Ranger Raptor, and you can see it with the two screens we have in front of us. The first, of course, is the driver display, basically the digital instrument cluster. On the left, you have your tachometer. It's like a very normal-ish tachometer. On the right, you have your speedometer. You have your indicators for your shift position here, so you don't have to really look down, as well as right up there. In terms of the other gauges that are displayed here, you have engine temperature, transmission temperature or gear temperature, the voltage, the voltmeter, as well as your fuel right there. So these are the things that you would expect in a vehicle like this, to be able to show you all kinds of information that you may want. While many car makers are going for a landscape format like this, Ford went the other way, went like this. It's very similar to what we see in some of the Teslas and some of the other vehicles abroad. So this is pretty cool. Now, there is wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay here. Right now, we are on wireless Android Auto. We'll show you a B-roll of wireless Apple CarPlay in a bit. So, but pretty much they're the same. They just give you all the connectivity that you want in a vehicle. It gives you access to your apps, all that stuff, and the resolution is really good. There are some, again, bugs we experienced with the connectivity because wireless CarPlay and wireless Android Auto sometimes drops depending on what you're, it just drops on its own. Below it, you have the backup or maybe even the primary controls for your AC, whichever you want. What's nice here though is that it does have a 360 camera, and it offers you a view of pretty much whatever you want to see around the vehicle. You want to see the front, it'll show you the front. You want to see the front wide, you can. If you want to see the rear, you can too. But yeah, pretty much you keep it in that. But what's really cool here is once you start playing around with the different modes of the vehicle. Right now we are in 2 high, 4 high, 2 high. Let's go to 4 high. So right now it goes to 4x4 shift. I will go through the different modes of the vehicle. Right now that's normal. Then you have sport, right? 4x4 shift in progress, okay. And then you can go to slippery mode for rainy roads. Then you have mud and ruts. We put all of this to the test when we were in Thailand. And then also when you put it into mud and ruts, this screen comes up on the right side. It gives you the front view and your steering angle. So what that gives you is the ability to place your tires exactly where you want. Now back to this screen. When we go to the next mode, it will be sand mode. It will still have the screen here, but gives you the ability. We'll use this mode later on the Lahar. And then you have Baja mode. That is where you can really have fun. So later we'll put that, we'll try that out. But again, we know it all works. It just optimizes the traction control settings to be able to give you the best performance possible. And then you have rock crawl. I'm not sure we'll put that to the test, but hey, it's nice to have it there. And by the way, you have to go to 4 low for the rock crawl mode only. We won't go there. Let's put it back into Baja mode. And yeah, I think that's about it. I have always been envious that Ford Ranger owners have the option to go for something like a Raptor. I mean, us who drive a Nissan Navara, we don't really have that option. I mean, there is a Pro 4X, but it's not the same. It doesn't get the performance upgrades that this vehicle gets. And that's actually what makes it special. I mean, you sit in this very nice bucket sports seat with the headrest. I mean, that one's removed. Got a nice steering wheel with the centering tab, whatever there that they want to call it, very rally style. You have all these cool accents. You have great ergonomics, great electronics right here. I mean, maybe even too much electronics, depends. You know, I would prefer some things to be analog, but still, you know, the world is going towards all this electronic stuff. Anyway, so that's perfectly fine. But where it really matters is with the suspension. Now, on the off-road track, we'll show you in a bit later, it's great, but on the road, it's actually really fantastic. That's something that people really enjoy with the Ranger Raptor. Like cruising right now, this does not feel like a pickup truck to drive. It feels like a very well-sorted SUV. And right now, cruising here, NLEX, I mean, there's not many bumps, but even on a pickup, you will actually feel a lot of the bumps. In this one, no. It just glides right along. That's the idea of the Raptor anyway, because a Raptor is like a bird and it's supposed to be like kind of gliding along, not really bothered by, you know, all the rough stuff on the road. That's what this feels like. And that's the real benefit of the Fox racing shocks. I mean, yes, it's for racing, but on the road, there's a real benefit. In terms of power, you've got 210, like I said. But where you can really enjoy it is when you start going through the gears. And there are 10 gears in this one. So once I pop it out of D and go into manual mode by tapping that button on the E shifter, I can start rolling through the gears, well, the paddle shifters, punch it a little bit, enjoy the sound. It's got a nice sound, by the way, this Raptor, especially if you're on the road. It's kind of throaty, it's growly. It's something you don't really expect from a turbo diesel engine. Generally, they're quiet. So that's all well and good. Actually, there was one time I was driving on the Lahar beds, which is where we're going in a bit, where well, not me, but it was accidentally ripped out the rear exhaust of the vehicle. We had to recover it somewhere over there. It was during a Ford event a long time ago. And yeah, the Raptor cruised home with no exhaust, but it was very, very quiet, which is, kind of surprising. But when you want efficiency, the Raptor can deliver too. I mean, as much as it can, because there's only so much efficiency you can expect from a vehicle like this, with this kind of size, this kind of weight, as well as this kind of tires, the all-terrain tires. All-terrain tires are not meant to be efficient. They're meant to be grabby on the dirt, and also, pretty good on the road. So in the case of this, it's actually nice and quiet, which is good, but efficiency is only at around 7.9 kilometers per liter. In the city, average speed around 25, and on the highway, it's about 12.9. So not really stellar for a pickup truck, at least compared to a lot of other pickup trucks. But you also have to factor in that this is more of a performance truck. So it's not too bad considering what it's supposed to be. The only real bummer with the Ranger Raptor is the fact that Ford Philippines didn't offer us the 3-liter V6 gasoline version. I drove that version in Vietnam just a few weeks ago, and boy, yeah, that was awesome. It sounded great, fast, but we didn't really get to stretch it out in the mountains because it was, there's no expressways, and the course was a bit tight. But you can tell that, yeah, if you take it to a place like Australia, or if you go on a really long road trip up north, or maybe taking it even to the sand dunes, you would totally enjoy it. I mean, I think Ford was being too conservative and not offering that. Maybe, I don't know, you guys let me know in the comments below. Should Ford have offered the 3-liter V6 in the Philippine market? And if they did, would you, if you're a Ranger Raptor customer, would you actually buy it? Let me know in the comments below. Nevertheless, this Raptor 2-liter turbo diesel is still fantastic. I am still wanting for a little bit more power, but where it really matters is how it behaves off-road. So for now, let's go to Sacobia and have a little fun on the dirt. Okay, here we go. I haven't driven here in a while, so we'll find out. So good thing I've got a spotter. I'm gonna get across, and we're gonna try to go a little bit fast on this one. This is what the Raptor is built for. So let's see if it can get through. All right, powering through. Yeah, use my wipers, and I have to keep my speed up because we are actually on a riverbed. So it's really about reading the terrain. The Raptor can really make it through so long as it's like flat like this, so long as I don't make any crazy maneuvers. But this is what the Raptor is really capable of, pushing speed up here. By the way, I'm in Baja mode, so yeah, that's fun. That's fun. It just feels so confident when you're on a river bed like this. Thankfully, it's not deep. It hasn't been raining, I think, too hard, but you can really kind of kick it around. It just gives you the utter confidence on this kind of terrain. You have to watch out for the rocks, and then once you're in the clear, punch it slowly, gradually, of course, not too hard. You'll end up digging yourself into the ground, but in this case, no problem. Good tires, good suspension, good traction, and really good power for a lot of splashing and dashing. What a day, huh? Yep, that's a day with the Ford Ranger Raptor. It's actually been an eventful day here at Clark because we have A-10 Thunderbolts flying overhead. We have Blackhawks. We have Chinooks. We're actually waiting for an F-22 Raptor, but I think they're still all parked over there at Clark. But we have a Raptor right here, and really, it gives you everything you want. Gives you the comfort for everyday use, gives you more technology than you would probably ever need on daily drives, gives you the functionality of the truck, all the features you can expect, the nice interior, you've got the great looks, and of course you have the performance on any kind of terrain, water, snow. We don't have snow here, but sand, anything else in between, you can enjoy your Ford Ranger Raptor. If you want to try one out for yourself, head on over to your nearest Ford dealership. These retail for just over 2.3 million. Again, I still wish they had the 3-liter V6 because that is pretty awesome, especially when you punch it on a surface like this. Nevertheless, as it is, it's amazing, it's fun. Try one out for yourself, see if it fits you. This is Vince of AutoIndustriya.com. Thank you for watching. Now, let's do one more lap.